"Michael, what on earth are you doing?" Mary placed her bag on a stool and stared at her son in shock, as if she had seen something dreadful. "Hi, Mom, I'm just making a salad," Michael replied with a smile. "The pasta will be ready soon, and I've already cooked the cutlets. Get ready, we're having dinner." "Are you seriously cooking dinner again?" Mary's irritation flared. "Where's your wife?" "Jessica's resting after work," Michael said, waving his hand dismissively. "Honestly, it's a total mess. She always comes up with an excuse to avoid doing anything at home. I don't understand why you married someone to cater to her needs." "Michael married me because we fell in love with each other," interrupted Jessica, entering the kitchen. She opened the fridge, grabbed a bottle of mineral water, and headed towards the living room. "Honey, are we eating soon?" "I'm really hungry," she said flirtatiously, leaning in to kiss Michael on the cheek. Mary grimaced, taking in the state of the apartment before remarking, "Your father, Michael, never cooked." The mother-in-law raised her voice for Jessica's benefit. "He'd come home from work to a hot meal on the table. A man should feel comfortable and well cared for at home, not be stuck doing all of this." She gestured towards Jessica. "Oh, really? Then why did he leave you if life was so comfortable?" Jessica shot back with a smirk. Mary's mother-in-law opened her mouth to respond, but words failed her. After a moment of confusion, she grabbed her bag and retreated to her room. Mary, now 61, had been living alone for a while since her husband, Sam, left her for another woman. At the time, her eldest son, Alex, was 16 and Michael was just 5. Mary endured the pain with surprising resilience. Life went on as usual. She went to work, kept up with household chores, raised her 2 sons, and maintained friendships. The only time she shed tears was during the night when no one could see. Mary refused to accept the betrayal, deciding never to remarry. The thought of experiencing such heartache again was unbearable, and her disdain for men only deepened. They were all, in her eyes, deceitful traitors. Her sons, Alex and Michael, were exceptions to her harsh views on men. They posed no issues at all. Both boys navigated their teenage years smoothly. While other parents faced challenges with their children during this transitional period, Mary found herself unaffected. Michael and Alex were diligent students, actively engaged in sports and thriving socially. Alex easily transitioned to university after graduating high school, where he married a classmate named Samantha. They now lived in another city, and although Mary disapproved of her daughter-in-law, the distance provided some relief. Meanwhile, Michael also faced no trouble selecting a profession. He had long aspired to become a programmer, a goal he achieved. After university, he was hired as a cybersecurity specialist at a thriving company, fulfilling Mary's aspirations for her youngest son. However, the only wish that remained unfulfilled was for him to find a strong family. Mary had envisioned Michael marrying the daughter of a close friend, but he surprised her by bringing Jessica into their lives. Mary couldn't fathom what attracted Michael to Jessica, who she saw as nothing but a brash, lazy woman with a child, 6 years older than him. Mary was beside herself with worry and had no idea how to convince her son against marrying someone she deemed unsuitable. Was he truly oblivious to the gravity of his choices? As she watched her plans unravel, despair settled in. Her only son seemed to be heading down a path that would ruin his life, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. Could Jessica have enchanted him? Wondered Mary's friends. She pondered the thought herself. How else could she explain this happy young man who married a woman with a child as if he'd hit the jackpot? Michael now catered to Jessica's every whim. He was once the type who wouldn't even bother to rinse his plate after meals, but now he washed every dish and even wiped the floors. Michael took Jessica's 5-year-old daughter to her dance classes and picked her up afterward. He would walk in the park with them, all because Jessica claimed she was too tired from work and needed her rest. Mary watched in disbelief as her son lavished attention on his wife's child, as if she were his own daughter. a behavior that infuriated both her and her mother-in-law. For 6 months now, Michael and Jessica have been married, and the newlywed couple has moved into Mary's apartment, albeit temporarily. Jessica, a 30-year-old commercial director with a history of an unsuccessful marriage, is also a single mother to a daughter from her first relationship. While working at a furniture company, she connected with Michael, who was seeking a part-time remote job. They unexpectedly fell in love, even though Jessica had initially sworn off serious relationships, enjoying her independence and financial stability. The two quickly discovered that living together posed challenges. Jessica insisted they find a rented place to live until she moved into her new 2-bedroom apartment in a building under construction. Mary, feeling displaced, pleaded with Michael to stay longer in her home, still adjusting to his new family dynamics. Her attempts to manipulate the situation eventually resulted in the couple moving in with her. Once settled, Mary transformed, her health improved, and she endeavored to regain control over their lives. However, the relationship between Jessica and Mary quickly soured. Mary attempted to impose her traditional views on household duties, questioning why Michael was heating his own meals. Jessica, a staunch advocate for modern gender roles, expertly deflected Mary's criticisms. She argued that household responsibilities should be based on individual strengths rather than outdated conventions. Jessica confidently stated her belief that in their progressive family dynamic, earning money was a shared responsibility, and proposed that if they had a child, Michael would be the one to take maternity leave. As tensions rose, it became clear that Jessica was not easily intimidated by her mother-in-law's attempts at control. She maintained a firm stance on her modern beliefs, much to Mary's dismay. But just as Jessica was about to elaborate on her views, she noticed Mary's discomfort, knowing the older woman was genuinely overwhelmed this time. As soon as Mary regained her composure, she asked again, "Will you have a child?" "Not yet," Jessica reassured her mother-in-law, "but we definitely will someday. I adore children, and who knows, maybe we'll have 2. It all depends on our financial situation. And Michael will take maternity leave too." Mary clutched her heart in disbelief. Sensing the potential for another fainting spell, Jessica quickly replied, "We'll see." If only she would cook, tend to Michael, and iron his shirts properly, perhaps Mary could tolerate her. Even Jessica's rudeness might be forgiven if the mother-in-law felt assured of her daughter-in-law's love for her son. Jessica worked hard, earned well, and made sure the refrigerator was always stocked while promptly paying the utility bills, often leaving extra money on the counter. Despite this, Mary harbored a strong dislike for Jessica, and their frequent quarrels added to the tension. The day Jessica and Michael moved into their own apartment marked one of Mary's happiest days, or so she believed. Life seemed to improve. Jessica's mischief became infrequent, and the couple would often visit, bringing gifts. Jessica even treated her mother-in-law to a 3-month gym membership and a gift certificate to a cosmetics store, slowly shifting Mary's attitude. They even planned a mushroom-picking trip together, but plans changed when Mary's eldest son, Alex, called to say he was on his way, having separated from his wife and bringing along his new partner, Sarah. Alex requested to stay in their shared apartment, which Mary graciously allowed. As co-owners, both she and her sons held equal shares in the 3-room flat. At first, Mary was charmed by Sarah. She was diligent, keeping the house immaculate and cooking delicious meals. Mary couldn't help but rave about her new daughter-in-law to her friends. Yet, as time passed, the dynamic shifted. Sarah began to exert control, constantly critiquing Mary's actions, from the cleanliness of the dishes to the state of the sink. "Mary, why are the dishes in the cupboard greasy? Have you ever washed them? And what's with the dirty sink? I just cleaned it yesterday," Sarah exclaimed upon returning home from work. "I always wash the dishes in hot, soapy water," Mary replied calmly, "and I cleaned the sink too." "Then wash your shoes next. You've left footprints everywhere," Is that sand spilling from you? I'm not so ancient that sand falls out of me yet, the mother-in-law quipped, trying to lighten the mood and avoid escalating the tension. Really? Then what's with the mothball smell wafting from your room? You could at least air it out once in a while. You don't live alone. Not everyone enjoys that aroma, Sarah shot back. Mothballs. Tears welled up in the mother-in-law's eyes. If there's something bothering you, Sarah, maybe you should consider renting your own place. Alex, Sarah yelled, your mom is trying to throw us out. Thanks for your hospitality, Mom. You've welcomed Michael with his girlfriend and someone else's child, while the two of us just get in the way. In moments like this, Mary thought of her daughter-in-law Jessica, who would often tearfully bemoan how much she took for granted. It was too late to make things right, and each time she considered speaking to her son and his wife, she hesitated, feeling embarrassed. But the situation took a turn when Jessica found out how her mother-in-law had been treated. First, she invited Mary to stay with her family. Then she sat down with her brother Michael and his wife Sarah. Mom will be living with us from now on. We're going to rent out 2 of the 3 rooms. Starting tomorrow, the realtor will be showing the place to potential tenants, Jessica said calmly. What tenants? Sarah blocked the doorway, arms crossed defiantly. Alex and I own this place too. Did you ask for our permission? Why would we? We don't want your third share. Just 2 of the rooms will be rented out. You'll still have your bedroom with a balcony. Consider it a gift from us, Jessica replied with a smirk. We don't agree, Sarah shouted back. Well, the court would disagree, Jessica winked. For days, Jessica's friend, pretending to be a realtor, brought a steady stream of Michael's international student friends to the apartment. They acted interested in renting the rooms. 2 days later, Michael called his mother. Mom, you need to come home. No, my dear, I can't live under these conditions. Sarah has made my life miserable. And you think we could survive in the environment you're suggesting? Alex chimed in, angry. Then don't live there, Mary laughed. You can always move out. A few days later, Alex and Sarah vacated the apartment, and a week later, Mary returned to her own home. Why did she wait a week? She wanted to enjoy spending more time with her beloved mean daughter-in-law, Jessica.